Welcome to Lesson 4, Decision, Topic 3. In this video, we're going to explore how we can use internal information to perform certain tasks and then do decisions, perform decisions on this information. We're going to use an example of our NeoPixel, going around our circuit playground as a way to explore how we can track internal information. So let's get to it. So here's our base code where we start off with an integer variable, POS is equal to 1. We increase POS by 1. We clear the pixels, kind of clear the canvas, and then we set the pixel at that particular position to red. Because this is part of a loop, POS is going to increase by 1 each time, so it's going to start at 0, then go to 1, 2, 3, and keep going. All right, so let's see that in action. So it's uploading. Let me pull up the serial monitor. Let me pull up the camera. And we can see here the NeoPixels going around. And what we can see in the serial monitor is the values of POS. Now once we get to 9, we'll notice that the NeoPixels go away because, again, POS is now 11, 12, 13. And that's being used as the position in the set pixel color. Obviously, these are not valid positions. What would make sense for us to do is that after position 9, it goes and restarts back to position 0. Now, we've solved this problem in a previous video by using the modules operator. What I show you in this video is how we can use decisions to accomplish the same thing. So what we're noticing here is that when POS is bigger than, let's say, 10, actually it should be 9, then obviously we got to do something. We got to bring it back to the beginning. So I'm going to change the value of POS back to 0. So this if statement is going to activate. Now what I want you to see is the serial monitor as we are looking at the Circuit Playground Express. So I kind of want you to focus on two things. First thing, I want you to watch the NeoPixels go around. See that the values are increasing. We know that. That's what plus equals 1 will do for us. It increases the value of POS. But once we get to 9, notice it went back down to 0. So actually, I do notice a slight hiccup in the code, and I'm going to fix that real quick. In that we don't actually get a chance to do 0 because when we set it to 0, the next time the loop goes through, it increases it to 1 immediately. So really it's about the place and where we do the code. So let me fix this around and let me push this down. And let me decrease this down. So let's make this a ½ a second. And that way it goes through a little quicker. But the key thing here to realize was the fact that when the position got too high, we simply changed the value of the variable back to 0. Again, POS is our own internal information that we're using to control the pixels. Again, it has nothing to do with the Circuit Playground Express. It's our own information that we're using and manipulating to control which NeoPixels get lit. So let's run it again. And it should feel a little more comfortable now because it's going to go a little quicker. And again, as you're watching, watch the numbers here. And now it should definitely seem a lot smoother in that once it gets to 9, it goes to 0 and kind of circles back around. So this was our own decision to control the NeoPixel. Again, the Circuit Playground doesn't have any intelligence. We've given it intelligence. It knows what to do once that NeoPixel, that position variable, gets too high. All right, so let's explore another fun thing that we can do with this, which is to maybe have the NeoPixel bounce from side to side. So for that, I'm going to add another variable called delta, and I'm going to set it equal to 1. Nothing special here. And just to show you that there's nothing special going on with this variable, it's just equal to 1, I'm going to do POS plus equals delta and show you that the results are still the same. So let's go ahead and upload this. So notice, a delta is just another variable. It's another internal variable that we're using. Now you might say, well, it's doing the same thing that 1 did. That is correct. We've added nothing special to our code, no additional functionality. But the fact that it's a variable means that now we can change it. Again, that's the key thing with variable. You can change a variable. You can't change number 1. Number 1 is always number 1. So what I'm going to do here is that instead of setting position equal to 0, I'm going to make delta equal to -1. Now I want you to think a little bit about this. So I got a plus equals delta. But if my delta is a -1, that's essentially subtracting. Okay, I'm going to slow this down again, just so you can kind of watch. Matter of fact, I'm going to slow it down to 2 seconds, so it gives me a chance to talk as you're watching. All right, so here's our standard code, nothing special here. POS is increasing by 1, allowing us to kind of go around the NeoPixel, but at some point, it's going to get to a value that's over 9, 10. At that point, delta is going to switch to -1. And look at what it does. Because now, if you look here, it's starting to subtract 1 from each one. Now, the cool thing would be, now that we're going this way, would be that once we get to this one, because notice it goes away. Look at the value of POS, the negative values. You can have a negative value for a position with a set pixel color. So what do you think we need to use? So that when we get to position 0, we switch it back over to going the other way. Now, if you recall, to go the other way, we need this to be positive. So if you're thinking of an if statement, you are correct. So let's add another if statement that says if POS is less than or equal to 0, and I'm going to change this to equal as well. Then I'm going to set delta back to 1. So using this, and at this point, just to have some more fun with it, I'm going to set it back to 500, and what you'll notice is that it bounces from side to side. So again, look at the values. So by using our own internal variables, in addition, with decisions, we're able to control this NeoPixel however we want. And the cool thing is, I mean, if you make this even faster, let's make it 100, the effect is going to be even better. Right now, it kind of seems a little jaggy. That's because it's going so slow. But I needed to go slow so we can actually talk about it. And I think we will all agree that looks a lot better. But again, this was only possible because we created our own variables to track the position, our own variable to track the direction of the position, whether it's decreasing or increasing, and then if statements to change it when it's appropriate. There is a lot you can do with internal variables, and over the next couple of videos, that's what you're going to see. All right, so let's go ahead and shut this down. Let's go back to our main presentation. So in this video, we're continuing our exploration of decisions, but we saw how we could create our own variables to track internal information. And then through this internal information, through these variables, we're able to affect the circuit playground in different ways. So definitely, hopefully you're excited. There's a lot you can do with this, and you'll see more that we can do in future videos. Enjoy.